Once upon a time, there was a young samurai on a quest for kingship and self-discovery after being cast out of his kingdom by his twisted and war-torn brother. Once upon a time, there was a beautiful dancer from a faraway land who is looking to hit the big time and spread some joy along the way to those she meets. But little does she know that the path to fame is filled with thorns. There was a humble merchant with a uniquely selfless view on wealth and capitalism whom will stop at nothing to share with the world in order to abolish the plague many call poverty. There was once a cunning thief with the goal of obtaining personal freedom for herself. But is it really just for herself? A young and hungry beastling who has been bestowed a dark and ominous prophecy that she will have to test her courage and strength to see through. A stoic professor hell-bent on achieving revenge against his colleague and fellow scholar after tragedy strikes on his loving wife and daughter. A kind apothecary on a mission to reclaim her lost memories and obtain the final cure to a devastating illness spreading across the land. And finally, an inquisitive cleric who will stop at nothing to get answers on a sinister conspiracy at work closer to his breast than he'd like to admit. This is not a series of games, by the way. This is one game that has been able to weave emotional short stories in such a way that you'll feel like you've known these characters your whole life. This masterfully crafted game is none other than Octopath Traveler 2 is truly one of those games that you can hop into and just feel right at home. The characters manage to feel so fleshed out despite the relatively short time that you do spend with them. After all, telling 8 different individual stories on 8 separate characters is no small task writing-wise. But somehow, Square Enix manages to strike this balance perfectly in ways that improve upon the gameplay flaws and story flow from the first game. When you open the game, you're presented with 8 options: Oswald the Scholar, Casti the Apothecary, Temenos the Cleric, Ochette the Hunter, Particio the Merchant, Agnia the Dancer, Throne the Thief, and last but very much not least, Hikari the Warrior. After reading each of the backstories, I immediately gravitated toward Throne due to the dark and mysterious background of her story. A member of one of the most prominent thief guilds called the Black Snakes in the shady city of New Delsta, she sets off on a journey to unlock the collar around her neck from mother and father, the 2 leaders of the Black Snakes who were stand-in parents to all thieves of the guild. One of the aspects of Octopath that I always appreciated was just how much it took pixel art to the next level, and kind of impacted the landscape of how this art style would be used in the game industry for years to come. This is why we now have the beautiful HD 2D remakes of the Dragon Quest series, as well as other pixel series adopting the art style that Octopath set the foundation for. The city of New Delsta, with its ambiently lit windows and darkly shaded alleys and crevices, was immersive in a way that I don't think I've ever really felt about a pixel game before. And the music has this whimsical but foreboding tone to it that perfectly encapsulated the vibe of Throne's origin story, along with the use of cinematic angles to properly engage the player in certain cutscenes. But keeping a long story short, your best friend Piero is a fellow thief who cares deeply about you and is willing to get punished for your mistakes by the abusive mother and father of the Black Snakes. And I think the relationship between these two is perfectly encapsulated with this heartwarming scene on the rooftop.
I see you made a new friend. I brought you breakfast. You haven't eaten yet, I assume.
Thank you.
Want one? Least I can do for the best in the nest.
No thanks. I don't smoke.
Maybe you should. People like us need to take joy wherever we can find it.
I want to live a long life.
Then you're in the wrong line of work, Throne. Life here is like a cigarette. Gone in a puff of smoke.
You can say that again.
We do what we can to survive in this dump. Living with a collar around our necks from our parents.
After speaking to Father, you get an assignment to assassinate the wealthy noble Diamante at his estate, along with the traitorous thief Scarachi, whom you've been friends with as well. And upon arriving at the top of the estate, we're met with this cutscene.
No.
The black snakes must change. When Mother and Father's power wanes, people will jump at the chance to take them down. That's why they need to find a worthy successor, no matter what it takes. And that successor will be me, head of the Black Snakes. I'll be the one controlling this town from the shadows. And I'll do whatever I must to get there.
Don't do this. I don't want to fight you.
I'm sorry, Throne.
Piero. Has your dagger not tasted enough blood already?
And then, BAM! The most epic and heart-wrenching boss battle takes place between you and your best friend to start the story. Keyword start, because little did I know that this would only be scratching the surface of the absolute peak writing that I would experience amongst the other short stories. I just had to gush over the intro to Throne's story, because it really is the perfect example of how Octopath manages to grab you in and never let you go with each hook, twist, battle, and bit of dialogue. Take this cinematic scene with Particio, for example. This scene is at the heart of his story after making clear that he aims to be at the top of the merchant world so that he can distribute the wealth in order to make people's lives easier.
Sell me the rights to the steam engine. I'll pay whatever price you ask.
What? You can't be...
Interesting proposal. I'm listening.
This here technology's an incredible thing, but monopolizing it will only bring tears. Even a merchant needs to understand that some things are more precious than money.
You don't say. Like what?
Like fighting for a better tomorrow. Things like this should be shared with the whole world. If I owned this steam engine, I wouldn't keep it to myself, that's for sure. Hear that, Floyd? That's the reason I believe in your dream.
Particio.
You really haven't changed in the slightest.
Not only do I just love this goal of Particio and just how upstanding he is as a character for wanting this, but I think this scene was the peak turning point in how Particio responds when met with the total antithesis of his beliefs, with the greedy owner of the novel steam engine, Mr. Rock. And it's also an example of the perfect combination of OST with dialogue, and how it fits so nicely with Partitio's outlandish promise to accumulate 80 billion leaves to purchase the steam engine to fulfill his selfless dream. And then the absolute masterclass intro to Oswald's story after he has been imprisoned on a frozen jail island for being wrongly accused of killing his wife and daughter. I mean, this shit is just straight out of the Count of Monte Cristo. Are you kidding me? The intricate details and hoops to jump through, and limitations in gameplay in trying to escape this frigid isle across 2 whole chapters was such a creative way of just showing how deep into his desire for revenge Oswald is. Along with just going outside of the box and how to introduce a character of his caliber, especially a step up from the first game. And then you would think that Ochet's story would be pretty simple, right? A dark event and prophecy coming to destroy the world on this one night with a scarlet moon, and we have to get these 3 beasts to help us out. Right? Well, no. Because within that simple framework is a story about environmentalism and caring for animals, and how Ochet may not be the most complicated character morally, but that's kind of the point. She knows that the death and tragedies met with the beasts she meets by humans is wrong, and because she sees the suffering of a mother bird losing her children, as well as the death of the legendary Cataracta by humans for the sale of its bones and body parts, a really nice commentary on poaching. Agnia's contagious inspiration that was sprinkled across the people that she'd meet who thought that their dreams were lost and never to be indulged in again. And to top it off with her story, can we just admit that this might be the single greatest opening to a final boss ever?
The Song of Hope.
So, the time has come. Let us decide once and for all who the true star is. Come, Agnia. Let's give them a show they won't soon forget.
One of the components of Octopath that I always loved too is how it would flip the script on you with certain characters. I'm going to take you on a quick ride for the Father boss battle on Throne's route with this real quick. Father has been seen as a piece of shit this whole time up until now. Let's admit it. He's used you, manipulated you, and knew you were trying to kill him the whole time while you pretended otherwise. But then he asks you to meet him at the abandoned church in Montwise. After a long trek to meet him in the church, he tells you how he loved your mother deeply, and had even conceived a child with her. And immediately, you're thinking what every player is probably thinking right now. He had a baby with Throne's mom, his nickname is Father. I wonder who Throne is. But then we're met with...
I'm your real father, Throne. If only that were the case. I wish it were. But saying so would be a lie.
What do you mean?
Marietta met another man. She fell in love with him and killed our baby. Marietta left me and eventually had that man's child. That child was you, Throne.
So, who was he?
The founder of the Black Snakes. The beginning of it all.
What?
After that, I killed Marietta. I slit the throat of the woman I loved with this dagger. Throne. You should have been my daughter.
Father!
I raised you as if you were truly my own, more precious than anything. But enough talk. Everything I've done has been for this alone.
This might be the most perfect example of a satisfying bait and switch that I've ever seen in video game writing. Because not only does it keep the mystery going about Throne's past, but it clears up Father's past and makes him a sympathetic villain, all in the span of one short chapter in this game. And I love how Octopath even uses its boss battles to enhance and supplement its storytelling. Just hear Father's heart-wrenching screams and pleas to be killed during this boss battle, and Throne's genuine confusion and gut-wrenching uncertainty in how she's supposed to feel in this moment.
Ah, very good, Throne. How does it feel to cut through my flesh? Does it feel like your hands were destined for this?
I'm not like you, Father. I just want to be free.
Then free me while you're at it!
Is this another one of your antics, Father?
No, my girl. I raised you to kill me! I've waited for this for so long.
You what?
Come now, Throne. Put an end to me. Pierce your dagger straight into my heart.
What?
Kill me! Kill me now! Brody!
And it's all capped off perfectly, with this emotional moment at the end of the battle.
For as long as I can remember, you've taught me how to wield a dagger. I killed people, just like you told me to. But this is the first time I've ever felt afraid. Afraid to lose you. Father, would it be okay to call you Dad?
Finally, I've become a real father. I'm so happy to have a daughter. But Throne, you won't be free, even after I die.
Your key.
Go. Meet your real father.
I could go on and on about each of these stories in this beautiful game. Like how Square Enix managed to pack in a whole feudal Japanese tale centered around a samurai trying to reclaim his kingdom from his corrupt warlord brother in the span of 5 measly chapters. Seriously, this tale was on the level of other pieces of feudal Japanese fiction such as Blue Eye Samurai and Ghost of Tsushima. And more amazing writing occurs in Temenos' storyline with Crick, his partner in crime who is a knight that protects the church that Temenos works for. But what I loved about this relationship especially was the opposing mindsets of Temenos, who was extremely skeptical of the church and its gods amidst the sinister conspiracy, and Crick, who strived to be naive to these claims in order to fulfill his duty as a knight, but had just enough of an open mind to reluctantly help Temenos with his investigations into the church, despite his belief in how such a cleric of the church could profess skepticism and blasphemy toward it. Also, just one last gushing point about how this game executes epic moments. And I'm not talking about Mother's long-awaited boss battle under the moonlight, because oh boy was that perfect too. I'm talking about Partitios' final battle with Mr. Rock and the build-up to it. You see, Octopath does this thing where most of the time, it builds up your hype over the course of the story to the point where you'll know who the final boss will be, but you can only imagine how that shit will go down. And the funny thing is, it never disappoints, ever. As the wealthy billionaire Alrond crashes Rock's new steam engine reveal party with the 80 billion leaves he promised to Partitio, Rock does not take this lightly. Rock disappears behind 2 huge doors and commence the final battle against a steam train with Rock in it as this begins to play.
This is for you.
What I want to get at with this perfect boss battle and music and just the build-up towards plot points in the game in general is that Octopath has managed to make a typical JRPG idea with 8 stories and pixel art styles into pure cinema. I'm talking like each of these stories could have probably been its own game, but I love that they weren't. I loved seeing these characters interact in side banter and in the intertwined stories. I loved traveling across the lands to help each other out in each own's struggles. I loved tweaking my party to best support the success of whoever we were helping out in that chapter of their story. When I opened this game on my Steam Deck each time, I felt like I was coming back to an old set of friends who I had been hanging out with just the day before. I cared genuinely about seeing their visions and goals come true. I strived to see Hikari become a compassionate leader king of Ku. There was nothing more that I wanted than to see a small dancer from a backwoods town in Agnia finally reach the big stage. Seeing Casti finally create the cure to the Purple Rain illness was something that I wanted to see through. Seriously, fuck this Purple Rain. But so goes on. I was so happy to journey with these 8 travelers and to yap about them in this video. Until the next time, I'll be waiting with my 8 travelers, ready to take on whatever comes our way.